Was Insidious 5, The Red Door, scary? Was it worth seeing? How was the acting? Find out right now. How we doing, everyone? We're here to talk about Insidious. All right, enough of that. Anyway, we're here to talk about Insidious 5, The Red Door. So let's get into it. The things I liked about it, the things I didn't. You know, how did it measure up to the others? So truthfully, I did not go back and rewatch the old stuff. I don't remember a whole lot about it. But this one starts out with, and here's the funny part about it. It starts out with Patrick Wilson and Ty Simpkins being younger. And they are, and I'm not really going to go into spoilers here. This is purely the first scene, and that sets up, obviously, the film. So it's more of a plot. So they are in front of a psychiatrist, a hypnotist, etc., and they are hypnotized into thinking that all of that 1 year of all those things that happened in the previous films didn't happen. So they're both kind of broken because they know that there's something wrong with them, but they don't know what that is because the memory's been altered. Now, how did I feel about that plot point? I don't know if that really works. That's the whole film was premised on that. I'm not sure if you can just go to a psychiatrist or a hypnotist and just say, hey, knock out a year of my life. And they say, yeah, no problem. Let's do it. So I was a little bit taken aback by that. But if you can get beyond that, then I think the rest of the film is good. And I did go see some other reviews before I did my own, just like I always do. And I'm going to kind of compare what I think to some of the other reviewers. So what I really liked about the film is the fact that the actors from the previous films came back and are now adults. So Ty Simpkins, who was 10 years old, and obviously they did some kind of a de-aging or something to that effect, or you know, they did some cutouts or whatever from previous films. But the funny part is that this movie was only $16 million. That was the entire budget, $16 million. And they did some de-aging stuff or younger stuff. And Indiana Jones was $300 million. and their de-aging stuff I didn't like really at all. So this was directed by Patrick Wilson. This is his directorial debut. And I got to say that I'm a big fan of his, by the way. I really like what he did in Aquaman. He was probably one of the best parts of Aquaman. I liked him in Watchmen. And, you know, and obviously his Conjuring films. So he's got really a good base. So there's something about the children or something like that I like too. So yeah, he's really good. And in one of the previous Insidious films, he was obviously the villain because he was possessed or whatever else. And this film touches on that as well. So we have a juxtaposition here between the characters than normal because they're really no longer a family. So because of this year of their lives that has been removed, Patrick Wilson's character, Josh, he gets very introverted because, again, he's trying to figure out what's wrong with him. So he's going to doctors, etc. He's snapping at people. He's pushed his family away to a certain extent. And then the rest of the family obviously remembers that he went kind of nuts and was possessed and tried to kill them. So we have all of that going on. So the family is shattered. And Rose Byrne and him are no longer married, so we see very little of her throughout the entire film. And we don't really see them together very often. They're off doing their own thing because mostly it takes place with Ty Simpkins, who I think top billing here, and he's going to college, so we get to meet his roommate or initial roommate, who is female. And of course that can't happen. So, she's no longer his roommate very long. And she's played by Sinclair Daniel, who's done mostly television work, but I thought she was pretty good. And I thought that the chemistry between the two actors worked. And because it really, since the characters are the ones pushing this forward, if you don't have any chemistry between the actors, the film just falls apart. And, to keep the cost and budget down, they had to really be very economical about locations. So, it takes place on a college, so they probably rented the college for X amount of days. But they needed to go into this astral projecting thing that all the other films, that's how the other films take place, is because they're actual projected to another realm, and these ghosts or whatever else are starting to come into our world, and this is the same type of plot. In fact, he's told throughout the thing, and this is also in the trailer, the door is open, so they have to close the door. So we have Ty Simpkins, who doesn't remember the fact that he has this ability, and he accidentally uses it again. And that's what kind of triggers everything for the rest of the film. So we do have our jump scares, and we do visit the astral projection realm. But it's interesting how they do this, because they really didn't do it with any special effects. What they did was that they took, he's in his dorm room, they added smoke, they added some lighting effects, and they added sound effects to make it sound like you were in a dungeon. It was very, very good how they did it. And, they shaved probably $1 million off their budget by not trying to do CGI and things to that effect. So really good work there. I was in it. And, we get to meet the ghosts again and things to that effect. And again, it's all practical makeup effects. So I got to talk about Patrick Wilson, because I thought his directing was very good. And obviously he knows this world very well because he's been in it for many years now. So he took it under his wing, and obviously he cared about it enough to be able to structure it in a way where the fans would be happy with it. There was not like, the Indiana Jones and the Kathleen Kennedy thing where they want to destroy whatever the fans like. No, this kind of played along with it. So it was written again by Leigh Whannell. I'll take that back. The story is by Leigh Whannell, who wrote all the other ones. He also did Saw. He also acted in Saw. So he's got some really good, and he's done the other Insidious movies as well. So he's got some really good writing credits at his back. But he left it in the hands of Scott Teems. And Scott Teems is not a good writer. He did things like Firestarter that everybody quickly forgot about on purpose, and Halloween Kills, that also was not a good movie. So he does not have a great resume, and I don't know why they threw at this guy. So I did like the arcs that the characters had, and again, Patrick Wilson really brought it home, I thought. In fact, when you compare, his directing to Bryce Dallas Howard, who is like Hollywood royalty, what a difference. She's done now episodes of one. I think it's one per season for Mandalorian, and both of hers have not been good. So I think she should be staying in front of the camera instead of behind it. But obviously, she likes it, so whatever. I guess we have to put up with it. But yeah, so I really trying to analyze, because I was watching Sean Chandler's stuff, and he didn't like this one really at all. He's like, to skip it. And I kind of disagree, because I like that the arcs that the characters had. I like a lot of the imagery that was in there. I liked how there was the chemistry between the characters, and we're seeing the end of the road kind of with them. And there's the big but. So I was trying to figure out, like, my initial out of the theater reaction was good. But then when I started thinking about, it was something bothering me. There's some kind of hole in this. I just didn't know what it was. And then I figured out what it was. It is the villain. So they kept talking about him. He wants to come in here. He. But we never know who he is. Okay? So we have no motivation for the villain. We don't ever get to know the villain. The villain is just there and shows up, and obviously he's the reason we need to close the door, along with some of the other ghosts that are coming through. We never really get a very climactic close the door. So I think that's it, because the stakes are purely in the family, and we never get stakes outside of that, right? So what if this thing does escape? What does it want? What is its end goal in coming into this world? We never find out. We never find out what that thing is and what that villain wants. What is its end goal? Does it want to kill everything? Does it want to, does it want to release all the ghosts into the world so that it can, take over other human bodies, and possess as many human bodies as possible? I mean, that's the questions that we never get answered, and that is the whole, right? Because what are these characters fighting for? The father is fighting to save his son, but what is the son fighting for? I don't know. What is his, where is his hero's journey? Besides trying to get along with his father and understanding what his father has been through. We don't know. And that's where the letdown in the script is. That's where the script needed another rewrite, and I'm surprised that Leigh-Whannell didn't go out and say, hey, we need to fix this. Or even Patrick Wilson, when he's directing, he's like, you know what? We need to fill this hole. And that's where the detriment of the film is. If they had fixed that, if they had filled in that gap and made it more of a universal threat than just this little teeny tiny threat for just the family, which we never even really feel, then it's I think it would have been a lot better. I think that it would have gone up in ratings for what's going on right now. I suppose the audience score has been very tiny. I think it's like 40% or something like that on Rotten Tomatoes, and the viewers, the audience, is up to 70 something, which is still not that great. But it could have been so much better, and it's doing decently at the box office. Like when I was there, like I like to go to the other theaters. I go to an AMC, and in Woodland Hills, and then it's like a 16 theater, so I walk around and I see what everything's playing. I like to see who's got theaters that are full and who doesn't. And I walked into Indiana Jones. I can tell you that movie's dead on arrival. It had like maybe 20 people in that theater, maybe 20. Insidious was sold out, and I didn't even see Little Mermaid there at all. Spider-Man still had a hefty audience in there. But I think that that one's already gone. I think Little Mermaid's pretty much gone already. And so we have this and Sound of Freedom, which I'm going to go see tomorrow. So I'll do a video on that as well. That one was pretty full too. That'd be like 2/3 full. And I was only playing in one theater. But yeah, so and then of course we have Mission Impossible coming out. I already bought my ticket for that as well. So that is going to dominate. I think that's going to everybody thinks that's going to dominate. We'll see how many pre-sale tickets are in that thing, but that has the same budget as Indiana Jones does. I don't know if you knew that. It's also $300 million, and also Fast X was also $300 million. So, but Fast X did hit $700 million, I think. So I think that's still okay because they'll do okay on VOD. They'll probably hit another, $100 million on VOD before it drops. But anyway, that's really what the crux of the film was. We had good character arcs. We had really good acting. We had some good imagery. We had a jump scare that one of the first one got me, and I don't jump. I'm not a jumpy guy, and I go to Halloween Horror Nights all the time, and I'm laughing. I don't really jump, but this one got me, and so impressed to that. But so it had a couple of jump scares in it. It had some good makeup effects, character acting, all that good. The problem was the villain side. What are the stakes? Who is this guy? What is his motivation? What does he want? How is he going to destroy the world or whatever? What are the characters really up against? We don't know, and that's where the problem is. So with that in mind, I'm going to give this film a 7 out of 10. I liked it more than average. I didn't walk out of there saying, "Why did I spend money for this?" I suggest seeing it in the theater. It's probably a little good date night thing because it's not a whole lot to think or whatever else. And I think that, Sound of Freedom is going to be a little bit depressing for a date night. But I think everybody should see that one too because I hear it's very eye-opening. But we'll talk about that one as well. But that's it for me. Let me know what you guys think. And, also the doctor. The doctor's an excellent character, and I miss seeing her in this film. She does pop up a little bit, but I know she died in one of the other films, but I almost wanted her to pop up in the astral projecting world. I thought that would have been cool. She does pop up, but very, 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 very short. All right, so remember, thank you so much for watching all the way through. Remember to like and subscribe to my channel. We do movie reviews. We do comic book reviews with a twist because I talk about how these comics if they would make good films or not. In fact, I just did one on Something's Killing the Children. I think that Netflix is picking that one up. So it's good that if you want to see how comics work in movies and film, I discuss all that as well. And we also do board game playthroughs, etc. So again, thank you so much for watching. I'm trying to get monetized. So try to watch the videos all the way through to get as much time in there as possible, even if you have it playing on silent in the bathtub or whatever, so, just so I can get hours in there. And then let me plug my own writings as well. I have my Vampire Mob in the 50s, Lords of L.A. You can see it's a very glossy cover. This is 48 pages about a woman who was turned, but she doesn't know which one of the mobsters turned her. And she says it is like a rated R comic. There is plenty of, you can tell, blood and guts and nudity and all that stuff in there. So there's plenty of that, and but plenty of good action and vampire stuff as well. So I think you'll be happy with that. And then we have my sci-fi graphic novel. It's 50 pages, and it has plenty of robots and aliens and space battles and gun battles and good twists and turns. In fact, there's a big twist in it, and I can see if anybody knows it's coming or not, or if they can see it coming before it does. And then my new, that's gonna fall over. Then my new fantasy novel, Tales of Ravenor, the Iron Witch. It is a 400-page novel. Good new magic systems, world building, and a whole bunch of other things. And of course, we have dragons and monsters and witches and all that good stuff in here. And I will be continuing this series. We are turning it into a D&D module as well. I have plenty of artwork being done right now for that. So excited to see all that. But thank you again for watching. Thank you for supporting my channel. And I'm looking forward to doing more videos in the future and increasing my my viewership. So thank you again for being part of that. All right, have a good one, guys, and have a great weekend. And thanks again.